another 13 seconds for that.
In that 30
gotta
seconds.
speak to them about changing that intro, man. It's kind of killing me at the moment. Wilski, mate, what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, man. Ready for the week.
Ready for the week.
Got some trades running from last week, so we'll see how they play out.
Indeed. I've got a couple of trades running as well. The market's just open. We've seen the S&P just push up. Wow.
Big gap.
Wow. So, which I'd be very surprised then, because gold USD should be pushing down. Let's have a look. Jeez.
It's a big one.
Yeah. Okay, so the steps to participate in the giveaway. We'll go through that in a minute. I've got to set that up. Sackett was supposed to be here today with us, but there's holidays in India at the moment, so he's going to be with us tomorrow. But we will put out the link for you guys to participate in the giveaway. I'll actually put the link in here now. Say hello, everybody, as well. Whoever's in the chat, put a bit of music on.
Life.
There you go.
It's a nice little Halloween discount I saw as well.
Yeah, obviously across the board, you've got discounts everywhere. Everybody's trying to do the best discount. So same thing with us. You got a 25% discount, and once you get your first payout, you get the same account for free. So you basically double it up. I do like those deals as well, because you scale up your capital very quickly with stuff like that, which is really good. So should we have a little bit of Butchers, what's going on in the market? I'll go through quickly what I'm looking at, and then I'll pass it over to Wilski. So if we have a look at higher time frame, I was looking for EU just to come up a little bit more. I thought this was going to be an area where it was actually going to hold as support, and we were going to see a little bit more of a push up. So I thought, honestly, this level was going to hold, and we were going to push up. I don't know what that is. Let's turn that off. This level was going to hold, and then we were just going to push up to take out some of these levels. But on the intraday, it's not doing that at all. So you can see earlier on this morning, we had a push down, broke under the EMAs, and since then we have just been selling off. So I'm actually in a trade right now. My stop is below right here, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets taken out. Let's have a look at GU, which is quite interesting as well. It's been very choppy, same type of thing. But, same type of thing. Not really much to go on that either, to be honest. We're still stuck in this area of consolidation, which is just going from one level to the other. Like if we have a look between, that daily and that 4 hour, all it's doing is consolidating in between it. So that is it. Gold pushing up. Maybe there's a break, retest, continuation trade there. Something like that, possibly. That does look good. But in my previous experience, something that looks good in the time doesn't normally stay looking good. So you gotta be careful. But that looks like a good break, retest, continuation type of trade. Again, we've got a lot of this consolidation here on USD Swiss. Dixie, and I'm sure Wilski will talk about this as well. Dixie just looks super primed for a push up. So we've already had this break of structure, and we're just making higher highs and higher lows. So to be fair, I'm not surprised why Euro is selling off, because we're in a very strong area of demand on levels like the break highs pre-break. So I'm not surprised why we're pushing up right now. That is me. That is my quickly talking about what I think is going to happen. I'm going to pass it over to you, mate.
Yeah, Qualix. It looks good. The DXY looks the best out of all to interpret the dollar stuff. I think the DXY is looking the best, but I normally start on the weekly, and we can see last week we did see that pullback, which can it can make this look like it's ranging, and when it doesn't really make too much sense on the weekly, I'd rather just drop to the daily and try and get that picture. And obviously, we can see I'm really looking for targets above 100, this high here. We did get that rejection last week at around previous weekly high. We pulled back into this area, which is obviously holding. I would like to see this session push up, flip, where we did start the day and continue back up to the upside. And really, I'm eyeing up this area here. I'd want to see really us clean right through this. What I don't want to see is price come up and then start dropping, because there is areas of liquidity down here. There's further demand zones, and we can pull back to any of them before we go up. It doesn't have to go up from this point. So really, I'm looking out for that. As for EU, I am currently in a sell. So I took a sell last week and I took a loss. I had an earlier entry around, I think it was just around here. My stop loss was at, I think my stop loss was at 100. So I had a move like that, a little bit higher actually. That got stopped out last week, and then this second position got tagged in, and I was really expecting these highs to be respected on the daily. Weekly time frame, we are also quite choppy, so going to revert to the daily for that. What I want to see is, again, us just come down, and my target's only at previous weekly low there, where we've kind of formed these equal lows at the previous weekly lows. So if we can get that push and continuation, I'll be liking it. As for like the lower time frames, it's been a very slow day, so I want to see price continue through. We did come into them 3 wicks, so it'll be interesting to see if we do bounce off that coming into this session. And then as for GU, still in 2 mega trades from like one's nearly 4 weeks old, which is kind of crazy. I've never held a trade this long, and I've had to go through the psychology of being up. And to be honest, I should have really closed out more based on. There's nothing to say based on the way I trade. I should have been closing out, but with props, I think I should have been getting out and getting payouts. So I did manage to pass phase 1 with these 2 trades, and then the EU trade I'm in, and the one I took last week and I lost, I'm in Funding Rock phase 2 of that. So I'm currently looking to see if I can get some profit on that account. Same thing for GU, still very choppy on the weekly, daily time frame. We can see the structure is creating them, them breaks of here, making them lower lows. We did kind of pull back and create a higher low there. So really, I'm interested to see if this area will get taken out. Will we respect where we are right now? Because I do see this area here, and I'm a little bit worried if we don't get that volume, we could pull back deeper. And to be honest, I'm eyeing up this area. There is potential. I'm always going to look at it from a logical perspective, not necessarily just believe because I'm in sells that we're just going to come back up to here, and we can still come up to this area here and we can still drop. So it's all to play for, I think, with GU, and I want to see some conviction on the candles that going into this week. Like we can see the 4 hours very choppy, but I am liking it overall. Like I think the structure on the daily is quite clear that we should be heading down on these 2, but obviously what we actually do could be a different story, and that's really my breakdown there.
Yeah, the expectation for price to do stuff as well. It's like you come in, you have like this kind of idea, but then it just changes so fast. That's the thing I think with swing trading. It's like quite an interesting skill, because you have to kind of hold your bias kind of thing, because otherwise you end up getting out of good trades just out of noise instead of actually but with like intraday setups, I think you got to be a little bit flexible. But guys, you got the Halloween special, the spooky special right there, 25% off. You got the code in the bottom, and obviously if you want to get into the giveaway, I've put it in the comments as well. We're going to see what we've got with current trades and stuff like that, but that is so far, that is it. So we've got CHF is still chopping around. Like ideally I was saying, okay, if we break obviously this bit of structure, then I want to get on a break retest of that weekly level, which actually just happened. So technically I should be getting into this short.
Yeah, bouncing off the EMAs quite nicely.
Yeah, it looks, and to be honest, it's been all I look at this is, we've had this push down, we've had this nice bit of price action up into the 50 fib, and now We've tried to push back up, couldn't. We're back under the EMAs, back under a weekly level. It's like all of these different confluences, all of these different things picking up, saying potentially we can be going down. I'm probably gonna take that trade just because I said I was gonna take it, and
Man, if you were.
missed the proper entry, to be fair, but we'll see what happens. There's a lot of momentum as well on the Dixie.
Does seem like volume's kicking in quite nicely, actually.
Yeah. Practice a little bit of patience, see what actually happens with this. We need to sort you out. We need to sort you out an intraday account so you can do some intraday practice trading.
I do, yeah, I actually do, man. I don't know, like I'm very set on having, because I want to always test the strategy to be confident in it. Without that, like I would love in my head to just go and freestyle, and I think to an extent I probably could trust myself. I've got very good discipline in. If I do take that 1 or 2 losses, go right, that's the day done. But yeah, I would like to see maybe looking at a few other pairs like UJ. Seems to be like quite a good pair.
Yeah, it looks UJ looks also like it's it's taken out that Asian low. It's made a base. You could even argue that this is like a bit of a a head and shoulders type of pattern type of thing, so whoever's looking at this, maybe you'd be looking a break above there and then to take out that Asian high. Maybe that's your in. Thing is, I'm looking at it's going short on USD CHF, but looking at the Dixie, I don't think that's a good idea. And looking at EU actually looks short.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've gone on a few different USD charts, and some of them are looking bullish, some of them are looking bearish.
Yeah. It's quite choppy.
It's like you were saying with GU. Every time I've looked at it today, every hour and a half, one time it looks bullish, next time it looks bearish.
Yeah,
just flip it.
Yeah, super. Then again, yeah, exactly. I could flip this and I'd be like, yeah, I should be short right now. I should be short right now off EU, especially we've broken this level. But again, I'm supposed to be set and forget. So, okay, so for the giveaway, I'm gonna put it back into the comments, boys and girls. All right. So funny, we were touching on something before we actually came on live. We were touching on like when you've got like a certain price or a certain thing in mind that you're not looking at the price action objectively, but you're looking at what the prices actually could give you, and it can kind of take you off your game, your edge. Do you want to go into that a little bit more detail? How you've got over that, or how you've come across that? Because there's some real valuable information right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we could start off, we could say, I think in challenges it can be a different story. Your objective is purely to pass, and you've got to take a bit more risk. As I'm learning now, and I've been a funded trader for a good year and a half now, really. And I'm still learning a lot of things to do with, especially the funded accounts. I was, like you see on them GU trades, I was in a lot of profit. And the thing is I'm realizing this now, is what was my objective for prop firms in the first place? To take out, a good few $1,000s, put it into my live account, build that live account, ideally to 6 figures in the coming years. And I've completely lost track. I'm just thinking about a payout. And because I've had a payout in a few months, I'm starting to see, I've got max allocation with certain firms, and I was seeing, nearly multiple 5 figures, nearly $20,000 to take out. And I didn't do that. And I was thinking, I've got to stick to my analysis, especially with what I do on my channel. I'm really trying to focus on the process, but that's the live account. Let the live account do its thing. but sometimes the greed takes over. And like you say, you get that figure in your head. You should never, and I say this now, you should never calculate if that trade wins on your funded account, what you're going to win. Because that figure in your mind, I can make $5,000, $7,000. And anything less than that, you will think it's not worth closing out on. And I think, especially the way I trade, I'm holding big pullbacks. I've had to hold a 250 pip pullback on a double position. I should just be scaling out at least one of the positions, letting the other one run. And then I've got that first big payout in the bag. So it's obviously, there's multiple ways you can play the prop firm game, but I think the greed still takes over now, even when you're funded. The greed sometimes doesn't go away as much as you think, and you can think you've got it all under control until it pulls back, and then how do you act then? So I'm realizing now it's definitely important to secure profits and get that payout, no matter how big or small that it ends up being.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to it, to be honest, because I think it's one of the biggest things that funded traders come up against, especially when they're first time getting funded, is because they've taken so much time to get to the point where they can actually pass the challenge. Now they've passed, all of the things of what they can do with this amount of money or this account comes flooding in, and they can start to kind of like attach all the different things that they can buy, or potentially moving out of their job and doing all of these different things. And then because all of that attachments onto the trading, then when the trader gets into a trade and loses the trade, all of that stuff is instantly lost.
Yeah.
And then it's the repercussions of, okay, I've lost that. Now I'm trying to get it back. And that comes into revenge trading. And then the revenge trading turns into the blown account, and then the self-loathing, and then it turns into buying another one and blowing it. And it comes into a certain spiral. So it's like every single like kind of milestone as well for traders. I think when you get to certain places, you have new things to overcome. When you've never been a funded trader, the first thing that you overcome is just strategy, risk management, and learning actually how to pass the challenge. But once you've got to that stage, now you're coming against those new things that you need to overcome and pass. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, I could have said that better myself. I think, like you say, you're already only thinking about that one level above where you are at all times, and until you've got multiple funded accounts and you're seeing huge profits, that's a whole different ballgame. And before, I've always just tried to reinvest into more challenges. Now I'm starting to think about the things, all the things you can do and the lifestyle that you can live with these big payouts. And it's a dangerous game because I don't believe, to the point I've got to, I will revenge trade if these trades would lose. I don't see myself doing that, but that will still psychologically damage me going into the next few trades, because it's all about capital preservation. And I've been coming from a drawdown period. So when you're going from drawdown to getting a payout, then you can recycle the account back to zero. But if you're in profit already, it's a bit of a different story. But I'm trying to get out of drawdown. So why am I not taking the profits? So I've had to have a little word with myself, and it's all good learning lessons. It's always there to be learned and processed. Mm-hmm. But when you're in the moment and you're in trades and that, you can always get too emotional.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially when, again, like you said, you're in drawdown. And it's like, shouldn't be really thinking about, okay, if I'm in drawdown, if I'm not in drawdown. But because you lose the account if you lose too much, you can't not think about it. It's like an extra added thing. If this was your personal account, or you didn't have any kind of rules, you probably wouldn't be thinking too much about, okay, now if I hit 5% lost in the account, what's going to happen? You don't really think like that. But props, unfortunately, have this added level of stress and added level of things that kind of, on one hand, makes a trader better because they're focusing actually on risk management and things like that, but also can put them under a lot of stress.
So, very stressful. Yeah, that's the thing as well. I always say it when I'm in drawdown, I preach it. I say you've just got to focus on getting that account back to zero. Any payout, as soon as you go back into being at zero, I was down 4 or 5% on some of my funded accounts. I'm now looking at them up 4 or 5% and not taking a profit. What's going on there? New learning lessons for me. And it's only going to get, as the scale increases, it's only going to get harder with seeing the money go up. Got to learn
Yeah,
now.
I think that's that again. It's the thing once you level up as well. It's the thing that you're now looking at a level of money. Like when it's like 500, 1,000, it might not be that hard to just okay if you're going to try to close it.
That's wages, isn't it? Wage money.
Yeah.
Similar to what you get paid.
But let's say now you're rolling in a trade that you're 5-6K in underwater, and then it's hard to close the trade, even though you should close the trade.
Yeah.
Maybe that 7K has just come back over to break even. You've hit break even. It goes into a little bit of profit, but you don't want to close that trade now because you just want to hold it to see if you can make the profit. So then it goes back down and blows the account. So there's so many intricate different things that when you get to the funded stage, or when you get to become a trader with a bigger account, that you've got to overcome. And it's quite interesting, but if you can overcome it, then you level up to the next area where you're going to have different types of issues as well. Like there are traders that have so much size, they have to split up their trades to get into the right, otherwise they get slipped. There's loads of different things, different problems that you're going to come across, especially at every different level of progression.
You just got to you've always got to look for that next level, because you can never settle in trading. You've always got to be working on refining what you're doing. I think when you're just trying to get funded, you don't realize that until you think, when I'm at this point, I'll settle. Life will be easy. Trading will be. It never gets easy. Never.
Yeah, it's never the fact that okay, when I get a funded account, now I'm gonna have enough to quit, or when I get this certain amount of money, I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna start doing the things that I want to do when I get that kind of money. It just, I've done that way too much to be sitting here and say that's reality when it's just not. I reckon there is a certain amount. How much do you reckon is a certain amount that you would be saying, okay, that's enough funding, that's enough amount of money that I've got set up for you to, quit your job, go full time?
Yeah, I can kind of say perspective wise, when I was first getting funded, I got that first 100K. I was working out percentages, what I could make, but I wasn't making enough off that one account. Now I've kind of got multiple, 6-figure funded accounts. Only recently I've gone for that full-time leap.
Yep.
And I'm also dealing with that psychological pressure of that at the same time, with what's happening recently on the account. So there's that to deal with as well for me. And that's also got to come into the equation of are your actions changing the way you're doing it. But I think half a million funding, if you're able to low risk it, if you're living in first world countries, I think it's manageable. But at the same time, I don't really try and tell traders to try and get 5-10% a month on their funded accounts. I really do think 1 to 3%, keep returning that, you're going to do all right. And I'm still striving for 7 figures, and that's what I want to get to for where I'll be happy. So I'm still not happy with the funding I've got, because I'm always looking for more. I'm always going for more challenges.
Yeah, and then the challenge that you're going to come is tax at the end of all of that. So everybody's got their own, the own stuff that you got to deal with,
That's what you realise as well, the tax. You get taxed quite a lot, and your payout, especially in a currency, I think the Swiss franc is stronger than the dollar in terms of what you get back, and the pound is obviously stronger. So I'm seeing $10,000, but that's only £7,500. And then you take the tax off, which is 30-40%. You're only getting about a third of what you actually see on the account. Once you lose the profit split, you tax in the currency exchange. But you don't think about that either when you're first getting funded.
Evade.
A lot. Under the radar.
It's tough, and I don't think these are things that any people talk about, is the fact that you're gonna get taxed, especially let's say if you're, because everything that you're getting paid, you're a contractor, you're not actually getting, there's no special tax in the UK for traders unless you're working on spread betting. Spread betting's tax-free, but prop is not tax-free. So when you work out everything, you do need quite a bit of cash behind you, man. You do need quite a bit of...
And if you want to be putting more into challenges and you want to put some into your live account, then you want to use it to pay rent and live and food and all that. The money quickly goes. It's not, you're not going to be as rich as you think. You know, just with your props, you've got to realize that, you know, if there's a prop that goes under, you could lose a third of your funding in a really quick amount of time.
Yeah.
That's not even your fault. You know, you've done everything right.
Yeah. 5% is enough.
More than enough, yeah.
If on a big account, definitely. Hi, bro.
What's up?
How's it going? Yeah, I do agree. 5k accounts on 5k account. 5% on your 200k accounts. That's a nice bit of money on the side that you can put to the side.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough money for you to say, especially in the first world countries. If you're somewhere that's emerging, maybe Thailand, Albania, India, all of these places, then definitely I think it's a different kettle of fish. But in the UK these days, it's not really going to move the mark that much, is it?
You're not going to be rich. And as well, the 5%, and what you don't want to get in your head is, I have to make 5% every single month. When that month comes around and you do minus 2%, you don't want to think you've got to try and make 7% the next month, because that's how you spiral.
Yeah.
You've really got to look at it as if you average 5% a month over the year, then great. But it doesn't mean every month's going to be 5%.
Yeah.
At all.
Because then you go back into the thing that we were talking about is, okay, now you've got this idea or this amount of money or this thing in mind that you're trying to get to that, and you're pushing trades, or you're pushing to, you know, you're not looking at price objectively, you're looking at what you want to get from it. And unfortunately, this stuff is not here to actually give us money. It's here to take money from us. So you keep it objective if you can. It's a hard thing to do.
You've got to play the game right. It's very difficult to do that because it goes against your human nature.
It does.
Against it.
Because if you look at many other, like a lot of other jobs, not many jobs really go against your natural underlying human nature, really. I can't think of one that... I can't think of one, a job like trading.
No, there's not much like it. And that's why it's so difficult. You've got lawyers, doctors, they all think they can get into trading. Really clever people. No.
But even analysts, we talk about analysts as well, like, you know, guys and everybody that does market analysis and do all of these different things. Also, for them, trading is very, very difficult. It's very different. It's very different to analyzing and putting up a chart and doing that than actually trading it or trading the idea, because you can look at a chart and you can do like I did this morning. You know, you look at like euro dollar and you say, okay, if it comes up here and it does these things, we're going to do that. But when you're in it, it's all about the execution and how you actually react and how you feel about it and all of these different things, all these different emotions come in. And that, I think, is the hard part. I spoke to Denzel about it. I was like, Denzel, if you were going to create the perfect trader, what attributes would you give him? And I think the first thing that he would just said is discipline. I'd probably change that a little bit and just be like emotionless.
Just numb.
A robot.
Pure emotionless.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Because you wouldn't... And I don't know if there are as many humans out there that genuinely wouldn't care about putting their money on the line. Obviously, the more money you've got, the less you probably care. So you want to come into trading to make the money. So not many people have that.
I think there's a saying, is the ones that have the most will take the most. The ones that don't have anything will get everything taken from them. And just it's a hard kind of reality, and you can see it. I think I don't know. It was some kind of, don't know where I heard it from, but it's just true. The people with the most money in society, it's a lot easier for them to make a lot of money. When you haven't got a lot of money, it's difficult.
So
It's a
hard.
slog. It's you got to push you got to do things a little bit differently.
The skills you got to acquire to get from even zero to what they say your first 100k is the hardest to make. You can go from 100k to a mil probably
A lot
triple as
easier.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can do from 0 to 100, because you can go up to 70k, then you could lose 50 of it back to 20, and then you got to learn so much along the way to actually start earning some good money. So it's hard, and it's great to talk about this kind of stuff because it is really the way the market is when it comes to your trading and how it affects you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Now I've had a couple of different opinions about this. My opinions have changed a little bit, and the reason why I said I was going to the opposite side of this a while back, and I was saying, well, to be honest, it doesn't really matter about your emotions too much because you've got an edge and it wins, so you don't need emotions because you're just winning. You're winning. Or you've got statistics, like 6 out of your 10 trades are winning. So why would the emotions come in and be a problem? Because you're winning. But when suddenly your mind starts attaching to these things like profits or making money or a validation of making money and being able to show people that you're this successful trader or you're a funded trader or you're this or you're that, and then it takes you away from those statistics, and instead of you being the house at the casino that is just constantly doing the same thing and actually making money, now you're becoming the person that is on the opposite side, that is coming with loads of emotion, trying to get something out of putting money on the table. And you change that whole dynamic, and that's only because of your mindset.
It's the ego. Once that takes control of you, then it happens to me.
Ego's a bitch.
And that comes down to the same thing as that any trader that's got a year of experience can probably go and test a year and be profitable. But when you actually step into the market, it's a completely different story. And yeah, I don't know what the exact percentage would be from mindset to technical analysis, but I know that the emotions will never go. You're always going to feel emotional. It's how you act. You just change the way you act over time, usually by not acting your emotions.
So if you were going to design, Wolski, you're going to design now the perfect trader, what attributes would you give him?
Personal attributes.
Yeah, and we can't say emotionless because it's too easy.
I'd say resilience, because most traders will, if you look at the statistics, most traders will give up in the first year or two. And it's only the ones that persevere. And it doesn't mean you're going to do well in the first 2 to 5 years. You might fail for 5 years. Pretty much that's pretty much me. But I just persevered, and I still believe that over time I can knock the bad attributes that I had in the markets out, and then finally come to that point I'm at really now. But I still think there's still a lot to improve on, and there always probably will be. But yeah, I'll say perseverance probably. Perseverance and
and resilience.
Yeah, learn from mistakes quickly.
That's an important one. Learning from your mistake quickly. Yeah, because that can hold you into the same place for a very long time if you're not careful. I've had periods of very boom and bust trading. It's probably what kept me going so long in trading, while I was getting to the point where I was taking okay money out of the market, and that was only because it was boom and bust. I saw the amount of money you could make and the potential it was there, but then because of the other things, with the mindset and stuff, it was very, very difficult to then hold it. And that's those little games and that resilience as well coming out the other end. I think that's a pretty important attribute for a trader, man.
So many times I've got to the point, I can't ever tell you how many times I got to the point where I genuinely have thought, should I just give up right now? And somehow I just stuck it out. Because I think as well, it comes back to the same thing as you want to prove not only to yourself, but you want to show other people that have doubted you, friends, family. You sacrifice so much, and for you to come out the other end with nothing, that wouldn't be good enough for me.
And that's the savage thing about the market, though, because it could really, if you don't take on board the proper risk of what you're doing, then eventually it could probably take everything and more from you, you know? And all of that opportunity and all that opportunity cost and all that stuff that you've been grinding for years just goes.
Yeah, for some people it is worth quitting, even if you're years in, because they would never learn. No matter how much they tried, it would never work out for them. And it's okay to sit there and say one day, it's not working for me, because you could do well at something else. It doesn't have to be trading.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, though. It really is.
Okay, so we got a question here. Sir, for both of you, the last 2 months were difficult and not as compared to other months, as last 2 months, 3 months, neither I am making money nor losing it. Mate, I could agree with you. I personally, for the last month and a half, it's been difficult. It's not the market that's probably been difficult. It's probably just been us. That is the issue. The market is just the same as it always has been, changing. Conditions are suddenly, maybe it just changes and patterns are a little bit different. Best thing to do is take a little bit of a step back. If you've got recordings, pictures, stats, go over them. I had to sit with myself the other week and go through all of my trading tapes and remind myself how I execute and how I get into trades. That's the only thing that got me out of this mindset that I was in, that the market's just taking everything and I'm not seeing it correctly. So if you've got tapes, if you haven't got tapes, start recording your trades. Start recording them, taking pictures, screen recordings, stats, all these different things, because you're going to need them one day. 100%. And if you're struggling right now, take a step back, reevaluate, try and go over these things, cut the risk. Things that I say that I never do myself, but look.
Yeah, man. It's like, what Abdullah just said. Do I journal? I journal everything, realistically. I don't always journal my thoughts and feelings day to day, but I do track everything, screenshot everything, mark up the week, what went well, what didn't go well, where I've gone wrong, maybe psychologically at the end of the week when I can gather my thoughts. But yeah, the last 2-3 months, I went on a 9-trade losing streak. So yeah, it was brutal for me. And there's always that period in the year where I don't necessarily do as well, and it happened to fall within the last few months. Still some minor, I think, personal issues that made me lose that much. So yeah, it hasn't been as easy, because the markets were more trending at the start of the year, I think.
They were, bro.
They were really good.
So good.
Very nice to trade.
They were so good. That's why I've had to kind of change what I'm looking at. Now I'm looking at just kind of failed reversals and stuff, failed trends. So you got to adapt. Oh, those markets were so good. We were so spoiled, man.
I didn't even capitalize on it properly either. That's the annoying thing. I did make profit, but it wasn't quite what I wanted.
I didn't sleep, man. I was trading non-stop. Like I'd be in front of the desk at like 7 a.m. and I wouldn't leave the office until like 6:30. And then I'd be like, okay, I've got to go because this is unhealthy. And then I'd go do my training and then go back home. And then and it was just non-stop, because it was just, you had to kind of take advantage of it. But then when the conditions change and you're trying to do that, then you're coming a bit unstuck, So CHF is coming down a little bit. So we've got a nice, obviously it came back down to that level. We broke the level, retest onto the weekly, and now we're pushing off and we're getting a little bit of momentum now. So we're about 0.5% in profit.
Yeah, it's looking good, that one. I'm surprised that it's going down compared to in GU. It's just dropping right now, but who knows?
Yeah, it's so weird.
But look at that. It's running.
So strange. Here we go. I'm getting out right here. But that's the thing, So at the time, at the time, remember at the start, I was like, oh, I don't know if I should take this. I don't want to take it. I kind of was just like, okay, it's there. You're going to have to take it, kind of thing.
You don't always want to get analysis paralysis. If it's setting up, take it. Trust it.
Yeah. If it's there, just be patient and just get into it. It's a hard thing to do, obviously, but... All right, guys. Any more questions before we go? Trump make volatile markets. Look at 10th of October. He said, yeah, okay. People lost everything on that. Some people lost. God, he must have there must be some kind of prevention from him saying stuff on Twitter.
I know. It's brutal. The confidence in the market for crypto has got to be, nearing an all-time low after that.
Let's have a look. What was it? Some of these. I was actually having a look at some. Let's have a look at some of these equities that I was looking at. Wow, I'm so glad that I didn't buy that. So I was playing around with the idea about buying some of these like penny stocks. A friend of mine told me about. That's up 30%. It's crazy. Wow.
I think it doubled.
Yeah. these are nuts, man. Honestly, stocks,
Right.
low cap stocks. I was looking at it when it was here. Low cap stocks. It's another ball game.
That's because they got loads of room for growth, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just super easy to manipulate. Like, you don't need a lot of money. Obviously, when I say a lot of money, I'm not talking about like a couple of thousand. I'm talking like a couple of million and stuff. But you can move these because it's a low flow. These haven't got much volume and stuff. But that's crazy. This is another one that I was looking at. Nike. I don't know why I bought Nike. I bought Nike off a monthly time frame, so it doesn't really matter.
There for the long hold. It's pulled back a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, pull back tons, but it's like somebody said something. That's Thomas Hogard.
I'm not sure.
You don't know him? He's the one that the best trader, the best loser wins. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Okay, so he made something. He made a statement that was really, really interesting. He was like, if something's going down, there's a reason why it's going down. Like if something is selling off, and I'm not talking about like a little bit of a dip on it. If something's selling off, there's a reason why it is selling off. So why would you be buying something instead of buying something that's actually pushing up? And it's like gold as well. If we have a look at gold and think about how many of us have heard everybody trying to short gold or trying to pick the top of gold throughout all of this. Shorting the tops of gold, shorting the tops of gold, shorting the tops of gold, shorting the tops of gold. It has now gone up.
And it never was the top, was it?
It was never top. It's just all-time highs after all-time highs. When are you going to say it is the top? Even today, you'd be shorting people would be looking at this underneath that all of the EMAs is broken, blah 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 blah.
Now.
Probably even shorting like this little bit, this little bit here, maybe even that like Asian session area, thinking that was a break, retest, continuation to take out the lows, and it doesn't. It just keeps pushing up. So anyway, rant over. Sorry guys, nearly 1% up on that one. That's it.
Cool.
Nice one. Well, tomorrow we'll be going through. We'll have more of us tomorrow, so you will have 4 people in here. We'll be doing obviously the giveaway. The giveaway is in the comments, guys. So go in, and later on this week we will be releasing all of those. You've got 10 accounts, 7 5K accounts, and 3 10K accounts up for grabs. All right. So see you later, guys, and take care. Bye.
Cheers, guys. See you.